Alright guys, so I'm going to work on the 432. It's 19 degrees out and I have no heat in the barn here, but I'm doing it because I want to get that snowblower that's sitting over there hooked up to it. So I got my motor that's been rebuilt for about a year, and I just got to pop it into the tranny, and I got a rebuilt planetary that I did last night that I'm going to put in there, and I got a new ring gear because the ring gear was really worn. And so I'm going to clean up that mounting surface and the transmission a little bit and see if I can pop this bad boy in there, and we'll be off to the races. Well, I got the motor in there. It was pretty easy. I left the flywheel off because it's a little bit lighter. So now I can take my jack out and pull this out. And now I can come hook up all my accessories on my motor. Like I can put my flywheel on and my starter and start putting this bad boy back together. And we're getting there. Exhaust, you know, all those pieces. So, alright. Now I got the flywheel on. Got a brand new starter to put on this machine. When I got this machine, it had no starter and it had no carburetor. It had no coil, it had nothing. And originally this machine had the starter generator style block, and at some point the electronic ignition trigger module. At some point somebody must have switched it over to a battery ignition. And those old ignitions, the way they worked was that there was an under flywheel magneto coil, so you didn't need any power at all to run those motors, which is really cool. And they had an electronic ignition on top of that. So I bought this starter. It was brand spanking new, and it's only like 60 bucks or something. You really can't go wrong with that. And the old flywheels have a rotor underneath that made that magneto work. That part is still in here, but there's nothing on that rotor. There's no coil in there. So we're just using the coil from our external battery ignition right now. So we've got our flywheel on this bad boy. This is exciting. I don't have a spark plug in it. That's why it's turning so easy. This thing has so much compression I can't even turn it. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait for this. Ooh, yeah, now we're talking. I'm going to build some new fuel lines on this thing, I think. These old fuel lines are pretty worthless. As long as we're this far into the motor, I can't really see any point in trying to salvage this old crap that's worthless. In fact, the starter cable here is cracked on the insulation. Probably doesn't help that it's so damn cold out here. There's two little plugs here for the stator. We'll plug those in. I don't even know if these wires work or not, but I'm going to go with it. So basically I got to tighten up the nuts and get the shroud on there and mount a coil and exhaust. The problem is I left the exhaust at home, so I got to go home and get the exhaust pipe. But it's going to be a cool little motor. Well, I ran out of time for today, but I got the carb on. I got the linkage on the carb on, the flywheel on, the starter on. What I need to do is side of this starter shroud, the hole that lines up over here is screwed up, and I need to bring it home and drill a new hole in there to line up with that bolt. The previous owner did not have a bolt hole for that bolt, and that bolt is supposed to have all the linkage for the throttle on there, the pivot point. So unfortunately I got to call it quits here, and I got all my gas line down there. I got my fuel filter. I have to call it quits until I get a little more time on my hands, but I do need to take it home, and it should be like a 2-minute thing just to drill a hole and elongate it a little bit with a round file, and then I should be able to button this thing up, and hopefully that will be soon.